It's been over 42 fucking days since we've been stranded on this ship. The engine that we just fixed yesterday is back to being on the fritz.
It feels more like 42 years.
We don't know where the Pink Russian is, and it could be out there at any time, ready to blast either us or any of the other ships out of the sky. Send help!
And flashlights.
Okay, maybe not those, but has anyone found the transporter yet?
No. And there are no other ships that Tyler or his team left for us. All there is like a couple of like battle units that are the other ones, the ones that the bodybuilders would use. That's not gonna help us. That can help us like explore the exterior of the ship. That won't get us very far on its own though.
Guys, I have a cunning plan. First, we deconstruct CBF. Then, we use his parts to fix whatever teleportation device may exist on this ship.
How about no? We kill Lone Crit, and once we get off of this godforsaken place, we sell his parts off to the black market.
Yeah, why not use your parts, motherfucker?
What parts?
I heard that man milk sells for a lot on the Chinese black market.
Hey, if you want to sell a deteriorated kidney or liver, by all means.
Hey, better than using my parts. Actually, now that I think about it, I could probably use my fucking adaptoid functions or something along those lines in order to integrate some parts of the ship so that maybe we can find a way out of here.
Maybe.
There's only one problem with that, Kaiser.
And what is that?
Well, if you integrate yourself with the ship, then that means that technically, CBF and I will be inside you.
I thought you were about to say that you would be stranded alone with me, and I was about to be like, no one can stop me.
I thought you were going to make a black guy stealing something joke.
I would never.
But hey, we're finally going progressive.
Lone Crit has enough reasons to get him cancelled. He is a robo-racist after all. Let's not make him a human racist too.
Look, Kaiser, it's not last summer anymore when we were watching My Hero Academia, okay? Times are different now. Now it's 2021. You can't make jokes like that anymore.
Pretty sure you couldn't back in like 2018, but whatever.
Regardless, point is, I do not want to be inside of Kaiser. Now, CBF, if that's your fetish, by all means, no kink shaming, buddy. But that is kind of weird.
Look, I think we've been belaboring trying to figure out this fucking ship long enough. Right now, the people want a show, and we still gotta give it to them regardless.
What people?
There are people? I mean, Aki's probably in the other room. Maybe she watches us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, she's probably bored over here too. We'll find a way to get us out. Trust us. Probably.
Aki
Maybe.
doesn't count. Weebs aren't people.
You aren't people then.
I mean, I'm not people. I'm better than people. I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Same.
Insert just like the meme of Narancia and the others in JoJo Part 5 being like weebs, other weebs, beating the shit out of weebs.
Speaking of weebtisms, welcome to the Newtypes podcast. It's your boy, Young Kaiser, with my co-host, Lone Crit and CBF.
Well, at least you're not saying the thug anymore.
I never said that. You know, that's... No more in-jokes. No more in-jokes in this sacred place. We're trying to get people in, not keep them out with their bullshit.
That's a microaggression, Lone Crit.
You're only saying that because it's an in-joke that embarrasses you.
I will neither confirm nor deny that. But you know what isn't embarrassing? Fucking Bastard.
Bastard.
Dude. Bastard is fucking insane. I watched it this week after finally getting to a couple movies like Scarface and Set It Off, which both those movies are great. I recommend them highly.
About time. Now, why don't you tell us how you love watching slimes getting up into young girls' business?
Yeah, because I haven't seen Bastard. It wasn't like the 1992 OVA, that one?
That is correct.
And to answer your question, Lone Crit, here is the thing.
The girl's clothes melted, by the way.
That sounds like the most vanilla ecchi thing ever, Lone Crit.
Right. I am appalled that out of anything that happened in OVAs in the early 90s and 80s, that is the first thing you would mention. Shake my head, man. I thought you had higher standards in this.
I thought you had higher standards in your ecchi, Lone Crit.
Exactly.
That's a very, very interesting relativistic mentality to sidesweep the issue on your part, Kaiser. And I, for one, am appalled. I am appalled with your disingenuousness, degeneracy, and your depravity.
So, do you keep these words in a book somewhere?
The girls do have fun and interesting designs, by the way.
That's not even getting into my shock and chagrin.
You already said shocked.
Right, you're just repeating yourself, stupid humans.
Stupid humans repeating their fucking buzzwords all the time.
Look, we can test this, okay? If the cock sleeve does not fit, we must acquit.
Back to anime.
Yeah, back to bastard. That's sort of like a bastard mentality. So, I really enjoyed it. Yes, but with one exclamation point.
You only say that because my lowbrow jokes are smarter than yours.
Allegedly.
Anyways,
as for the jokes in Bastard, I was surprised to say that, like, a lot of them was a kind of a mixed bag, at least the ones involving the main girl, Yoko. And keep in mind, I was watching the dub too, so
there were jokes involving her?
Right?
Well, Lone Crit, this is a woman we're talking about.
CBF, are you implying women can't be funny?
That's not what I was implying.
Are you saying Amy Schumer isn't funny, CBF?
That's not what I was saying, but what I was saying is worse. The fact that you didn't immediately get that proves that my intellect is superior to yours regarding fucked up humor.
Sounds like somebody's been watching the new season of Rick and Morty.
I haven't.
Listen, there's no need to measure IQ or dick sizes or misogyny sizes, okay, ladies and gentlemen? What we need to talk about is the fact that Wendy Lee as a tsundere almost never works, especially not in this OVA. She's great in everything else.
I doubt it, but did she by any chance voice the main girl in Orphan?
No.
I'd be very amused if that was the case, because I don't look up voice actors.
Wait, who's the main girl? Like, Nell?
No, the main girl in Bastard, her name is Yoko.
Okay.
Everybody knows who the real main girl is, though.
I got confused with the person voiced by Mary Elizabeth McGlynn.
No. That's the best female character in the show. But we'll get to her in a second. But anyways, though, yeah, Wayne Lee voiced Faye Valentine, sorry, in Cowboy Bebop, as well as
Extremely.
I mean, from that voice alone, you could probably tell where she's been and hasn't. She's also been like Fujiko in Lupin the Third and
Wendy
almost
Lee is
everything.
Natalia from Fate Zero.
Yeah, she's everywhere. Like her and Steve Bloom have basically been everywhere. In fact, Steve Bloom is also in this show.
Mary Elizabeth McGlynn?
Well, Wendy Lee. Yeah, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn was also in this show too, and she did an excellent job. But back to Bastard itself. To put in perspective for you, CBF, since I know you haven't seen it, in a world basically, which is like
it's like Yu-Gi-Oh. No, I'm just joking. It's more like Riku of the Nura clan.
That one I haven't.
Kinda.
I joke, but it is one of these split personality deals, except imagine if the cool personality was like, I don't know, absolute bastard wizard Kenshiro or something, just old school manly man protagonist.
Well, I wouldn't say manly. But
and the, like, normal personality that people like is even more of a little bitch than Yugi.
Ew.
Yeah.
And imagine now Anzu's a tsundere that does tsundere gags and is completely oblivious to the actual seriousness of things or the power of the being beside her.
I don't know if that's better or worse than the Anzu we have now. Because the Anzu we have now is already exceptionally terrible.
You know what? Fuck you. Anzu in the original manga was cute as fuck.
Okay,
I really liked her in the first 7 volumes.
She's cute, but I just hate how she's written.
Also, hold on a minute, alright? I need to address this. Her name is Taya Gardner, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, Taya is a perfectly good name for a brown-haired Japanese woman, and I will die on this fucking hill.
Then die.
Well, I can't die, I'm a robot. Damn.
Then rust.
Yeah, probably in like a few thousand years, I don't know.
There are better
short
methods.
circuit.
I was about to say, there are better methods to robot extinction, Lone Crit. The fact that you can't think of it proves how superior we are.
Yes.
I swear to you fucking I swear to God, you sound like Noin and Trace and Zex being the cool capers in the second episode of the Suing Discord server over Lady Un. Jesus Christ, just flap flap flap.
Actually, you know else is very superior? Dark Schneider. Literally the best part of this entire OVA. Especially in the dub, because apparently the English voice actor for him is the same dude who is Cosmo in Fairly Odd Parents. Which is the most hilarious fucking thing imaginable. And the dude
See, guys,
is great.
I told you God Arceus was a thing.
Yes, and like one of my favorite bits from the show, Dark Schneider was fighting this vampire motherfucker, who is like super over the top and trying to like drain the blood of a lot of these females because of course.
Is that the ninja guy?
No, that's Gara. I said vampire.
Oh, shit.
Gara's a ninja.
Dude, I watched the show like 5 or 6 years ago. Gimme a break.
When did we digress into Naruto?
Not that Gara. This Gara has one A in his name. The other guy got 2.
Lame.
Learn the difference, motherfucker.
Hey, it's not that lame because this one is voiced by Steve Bloom, so suck
Okay,
it.
fair. But now, all I can think about is freaking Dan Schneider being like, "Come on, kids, I can grant you your wish."
No, this Schneider is arguably worse because his whole motivation is that I want to rule the world, blow up shit, and get all the bitches.
Truly a dream to live by.
Oh god, he's even worse than a Nickelodeon showmaker.
I thought you were gonna say he's worse than me.
I mean, yes, because up to my knowledge, Lone Crit didn't literally pick up a dark elf off of the street, raise her for over 100 years to groom her into basically being his lover. Up to my knowledge.
Oh.
I mean, okay, if I may play devil's advocate for but a single moment, he didn't do that with that intention. Things just happened to go that way.
Also, it's just like most anime and manga that go this route.
Well, not exactly, because here it's backstory.
Yes.
True.
By the way, Kaiser, can you just imagine if that happened? Can you just imagine if that happened in Record of a Fallen Vampire?
Oh, that too. That would be fucking. Oh my god. I don't know how everybody would react to that shit.
I don't know how anybody would react to Record of a Fallen Vampire, period. Can you imagine the anime comes out, this guy's super bland, and all of the Fujoshis like him just a bit too much. That and the I can fix him or I can be there for him girls.
Oh my god.
To be fair, we're basically that for some of the girls, aren't we?
Really, I feel that Record of a Fallen Vampire would be an absolute just meteor towards the anime community.
Probably, yeah.
Besides, for a supposed Gary Stu protagonist, he's, I think, better than people deserve.
Absolutely. He's probably one of the better versions of a Gary Stu. And also Dark Schneider too, because even when the show takes things seriously, like in episode 5, when we focus more on his relationship with the girl I mentioned that he technically groomed over the years, who had basically been mind controlled. Yeah, who had basically the grooming was the best part of the series? I didn't know that. I didn't know you had that preference, Lone Crit. Anyways, who is mind controlled by the main bad guys trying to resurrect the big bad evil monster because of course they are into fighting Dark Schneider. The show actually does a good job at knowing when to dial back his ridiculousness and self-referential humor in order to like properly convey what's going on.
Yeah, by the way, I just gotta break in and say, I find it interesting that they take the magic a little more seriously and make it a bit more down to earth in some regards, like in Orphan, where the magic is very simple and a little more practical rather than all powerful. At least that's the style. But then we see this man break these rules by doing crazy shit and being invincible, even though he was supposed to be a team with his former cohorts, but then he ends up just outclassing them all. And then we get to the end where it turns out that if the girl doesn't like remove his heart, then she'll die. And so he removes his heart and gives it to her and he dies. And then the man is so OP that he simply rejects death and not even resurrects. If I remember correctly, he's just fine.
Yeah, he basically regenerates his heart and he is just back. He dies several times during the OVA and like, haha, even though these guys have known Dark Schneider for years and should know that he could survive this shit, they just somehow get surprised when he just comes back. Which is the funniest
CBF,
thing.
would you care to explain why you're wearing a Survey Corps shirt from Attack on Titan?
No.
All aboard the Survey Corps!
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of the series was like when Dark Schneider was trying to fight this vampire dude. It's basically like them having this sort of over-the-top contest where like, oh, he shot lasers at Dark Schneider and like he thought he cut him in half, but from an earlier attack, which was like electricity or whatever, he accidentally shot his like werewolf dog that he was using as his minion in the earlier episode, and Dark Schneider was like right behind him laughing.
What?
he took the absolute piss out of that dude. He clowned his ass so hard that he took a piece of his wing, used a spell that basically gave him a curse to make him his slave, to always obey him, and then he never shows up again.
There's also the fact, see, this is what I mean, right? About the fantasy shit. The other members of Dark Schneider's former group, they play by normal boss rules where they're like really powerful, but not like insane, just insane by RPG standards or something. And then Dark Schneider, he's like a boss from, I don't know, 5 or 10 years later in an MMORPG, or maybe like 10 installments later when the older guys have just all been power creeped to shit.
Yeah, he's just that fucking ridiculous.
It is
It's
like
really
that,
awesome.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It is like that, isn't it? It's like they're beginning game bosses, and then you grab him from later. Like, that reminds me, right? I was playing Adventure Quest Worlds earlier today, and you have Ultra Drakarth with nearly, as the champion of Chaos, with nearly 1 million health. That is the final boss of the 13 Lords of Chaos saga. And back in the day, I was told like 5 or 6 years ago, you needed a full party, a room of like 8 people that were max level, that back then was 60, with like the best classes, just to be able to do it even remotely quickly. And now they re-released all of the old yearly calendar classes that are normally extra good that you can only usually get with money. And they gave them buffs too. And then everybody was just in this one room, 8 people, with me using a special buff-only class called Lord of Order that only does support. And he was being destroyed in literally a second or two sometimes when one of these classes just dropped their nukes.
Damn.
This is like that.
But also just imagine being so much of a bastard, literally, that you just take the piss out of, that you see someone accidentally killing their dog and you just mock him, laugh at him. God damn.
Well, I mean, that guy did shoot first.
But yeah, Bastard's just really, really, really fucking fun, and it's definitely an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, and it's only 6 episodes too. Did you mention it's 6 episodes?
Yeah, it's only 6 episodes, and I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, so anybody could just pick that shiz up.
Oh, I was so surprised when I found it the first time, like years and years ago, because it reminded me of when I first got into anime, where the first time I found a 13-episode show, which in this case was Dream Eater Mary, my mind was blown, because for me, anime was Fairy Tail, Soul Eater, FMA, FMAB, Death Note, and long-running shonen. The idea that an anime could be just like 13 episodes, well, let's put it like this, cleanup would not have been nice. I hear blood is very difficult to clean up.
No, that was basically me when I was first starting out as an anime fan. I just keep finding OVAs and shit, like, off the ass on YouTube. It was a bit more easier for me to kind of digest in regards to that, because I got really into anime because of Toonami, and at the time, you know, Cashin Sins and Deadman Wonderland were on the air. So, that wasn't exactly super new to me, but still.
And what is it? Yeah, Cashin Sins is like 24 episodes though.
I mean, yes, but I was used to anime that were much, much, much longer than that, generally speaking.
Yeah, other Toonami things like a Gundam Wing.
We just got done with
spent
that.
3 weeks about that, dealing with that.
Well, we didn't really get it done, let's be honest.
But I do believe there's something else you wanted to talk about anyway.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of Gundam, CBF, do I see 2 Gunplas on your side of the desk?
Yes, the RX-78 high grade, that's the good one. The Zaku 2 high grade wasn't as good, sadly.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm just glad that they weren't super messed up in this ship. Then again, it's Tyler's room. I can imagine he would, at the very least, somewhat care about those.
Wait a sec, where did you get
I
those?
think that there's some kind of service in space exclusively for purchasing things. Weird. We're able to purchase things, but we're not able to communicate, you know, SOS signals or anything like that.
Well, as luck would have it, I just made money this weekend, so, I'm gonna get a new watch. But those are also considered.
Well, coincidence, I also gotten some cash this weekend. In fact, I think my human birthday just went by a couple days ago.
Omedeto! Happy birthday also! Space Blackjack. Space Hookers. Let go.
But first we gotta deal with this podcast before we actually get on that.
Yeah. By the way, Kaiser, speaking of short shows, I finally finished Queen Emeraldas, and boy, what a trip it was.
You got me to do it
Yeah,
too.
it's pretty fucking dope.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Every time, like, Emeraldas does her unveiling where the cloak comes off her and she's properly revealed, my balls drop just a bit more.
How close to the floor are they?
Well, let's put it like this. To cover the obscenity, they alas have to wear masks. You may call them my common balls, or my common kintama.
We did not need to know that, but okay. But yeah, Queen Emeraldas is just, like, incredibly good. It has a really good amount of atmosphere, and just...
Well, it's
one
good
of
for
those
what
really
it
sort
is.
of... Yes. Like, a lot of it, of course, this is, like, taking place in the same continuity as Harlock.
No, I mean, they say it in the last episode. It's like, come on, you can't possibly forget the fact that it's in the same universe as Harlock. The OVA keeps reminding you over and over and over. It's also in the same continuity as Galaxy Express 999, because Emeraldas is the sister of Maytel, the lead female character in Galaxy Express 999. And as they say, in the final episode of the OVA, there are only 5 Cosmo Dragoons total, the weapons that I used. 1 possessed by Emeraldas, 1 by the kid in Emeraldas, 1 by Harlock, 1 by the kid who travels with Maytel, and I don't remember, 1 more somewhere. Maybe 1 was
The sister.
Yeah, with her. Right. Thank you, CBF.
Also, that was episode 2 when she said that. Yeah, because I watched it for the first time myself. This is my first introduction to anything Leiji Matsumoto. And yeah, like the first 2 episodes focus on like one overarching story, and the other 2 are sort of just episodic tales wherein the main characters eventually meet up again every now and then.
Yeah, I like the fact that that acknowledgement of the other characters, the idea that all these people are somewhere gallivanting in the same universe, where considering Leiji Matsumoto's art style, I feel that kind of cohesiveness even more. You know, like the idea that this is a universe in which there exist badass female tall space pirates, another cool ass space pirate with a little blind Japanese best friend, you know, this tall ass mysterious woman traveling around with this little kid on a space train, where you have like empires of robots that have forsaken their humanity, and where people are mostly roboticized, at least the rich and powerful. What a cool universe.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It makes me want to like check out more of just Matsumoto's stuff, especially Harlock.
Yeah, I wish it would just stop beating us over the head about the fact that, hey yo, remember Harlock, hey remember,
Harlock, remember Tochiro?
Oh my god, Harlock is so good, guys.
He's so badass. He's such a badass.
Somehow there's even more reference for Tochiro than there is for Harlock.
Yeah, well that makes sense, but by the way, don't you just love the fact that there's that one bit where it's like Tochiro nearly died, and then instead of being healed by Queen Emeraldas, Harlock just comes and yoinks him and is like, nope, bros before hoes, bitch.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah, see, I saw that, and that's all I could think. That was so funny. Well, like, Emeraldas is expecting to be with Tochiro, and Harlock is just like, nah, he's with me now, peace.
Right. Like, you can deal with Siren on your own, like the antagonist of episode 4.
Yeah, like, all of these guys are like little anime space Clint Eastwoods, and it's just great.
Have you even seen anything of the Dollars trilogy?
Not yet, but I'm getting to that.
There's a trilogy? I thought it was just Fistful of Dollars.
No, it's Fistful of Dollars, there's Few Dollars More, and then there's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I thought that last one wasn't related, but then again, I hadn't seen any of them. Also, hey, 2 of those are referenced in Community as titles for the paintball episodes.
Yeah, I'm aware. Well, I don't know if they take place in the same universe or continuity, but people think of the main character, the man with no name. Oh my god, what an awesome title. As people with no name. Na 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 na. Anyway, as being the same person, or it being in the same continuity, but he plays the same kind of character in all three movies, I'm given to understand. And obviously all three are directed by Sergio Leone and have music done by Ennio Morricone.
Yeah, but point is that what I was trying to pose with that comparison is that, like, it's a similar aspect where it's just these incredibly epic and stoic, like, larger in life people just doing these incredible things in like a shared, in sort of like a shared continuity. And a lot of the set pieces in the show is just really good, especially with the more sort of relatively down to earth stuff. Like, I think in like episode 1 where we were following that kid and him trying to prove himself as a...
Yeah, honestly, the kid really makes the show. Because, like, if we just see Emeraldas going around being stoic, I think that could get old. But the show wisely contextualized her and kind of, you know, built on her presence through people that aren't like her. Like, imagine, because I think that's partially the problem with Gundam Wing 2, that Hero is that kind of stoic type of character that doesn't let up his feelings and he just goes around doing cool stuff. But then the rest of the characters are a lot of them are very similar, and you don't really have anybody to play off of that properly.
Yeah, I think there is a way for Emeraldas to make it so that she's the central character, but everyone else she meets develops around her in those stories. But instead, it's not so much about her. I almost want to say she's the deuteragonist in the show named after her, or at least she has about as much focus as Hiroshi, the kid.
Well, I mean, that is the case in Space Pirate Captain Harlock too, because even though the show's called Space Pirate Captain Harlock, the main character is actually a young boy called Daiba Tadashi, who seeks vengeance against the enemies of the installment, the Mazone Space Empire, because one of their agents killed his father in their attempt to take over Earth.
Gotcha. Well, here it's basically just, oh, I've been kicked out of Earth, no one likes me, no one loves me, but screw them, I've got a dream, I'm gonna build this awesome ship and go out and live life the way like Tochito and all the others would, because Tochito in particular is the one I admire, and he's the one who's been pulling off these amazing feats. Like, I'm not entirely a fan of the way it's executed and shown, but it's still like a decent motivation that gets referenced every now and then.
Yeah, but everybody always talks about Harlock, so I'm glad that there's somebody who likes Tochiro, who's the inventor.
So basically, Hiroshi and Queen Emeraldas, the two main characters.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, that's the case in so many Matsumoto works, because again, in Harlock, it's Harlock and Daiba Tadashi, and in Galaxy Express 39, it's Maytel, and it's the boy. The boy's the main character, and he's arguably more of a focus than Maytel. You always get kind of this dynamic between an older, more mature, reserved, and mysterious character, and somebody young, outgoing, who's got like a lot of growing to do in a very harsh world.
Yeah, and the kid's pretty alright. Like, he's got like a lot of spunk. He gets his shit kicked every now and then, and his development doesn't feel too rushed. In episode 2, when he and all the other guys he met up with get abducted and they have to escape this one Empire ship, and then he just learns that, hey, you know what, I can rely on these guys every now and then. And then episode 3 and 4 is just him and the stowaway old man from episode 1, just traveling on adventures.
Also, Lone Crew, I saw what you were saying earlier. It was so good when that little kid was getting the shit beaten out of him. I see you smiling over there.
See, it was not good because, I mean, it was good because the kid was getting the shit beaten out of him, but only because that allowed for it to be that much more badass when the kid struck back against Commander Eldmain. And I feel they really nailed it when they show that scene from Eldmain's, like, visual perspective, because you see him, like, beat the Hiroshi down, and he gets just a little bit more bruised and beaten each turn, but you also see how unwavering his eyes are, and then you get just that shot where Hiroshi slowly gets, like, faster and more resilient when he punches him back in the face, and how the power dynamic switches. It actually reminds me of that scene from Yu Yu Hakusho against the doctor in the hospital, when we see it from his perspective when Yusuke Urameshi repeatedly punches him in the fucking face as hard as he can.
Oh, neat. Because yeah, the visuals for the show are good in moments like that, even though there are also moments where in that same scene you'd get like weird slideshow moments. The action in the show is generally pretty well animated, more so in the first 2 episodes than the last 2, where sometimes you get weird transitions and directorial shots. I think the only other main problem is the CG ship for everywhere outside of the OP. Like, no, outside of the first shot of the OP, that makes it look more like a Pixar ship.
It's kind of part of the show's like late 90s or early 2000s here's a thingness.
I guess. I just think that the ship looks not even comically ship, just distractingly shit. But I do get what you mean in the sense that that's basically what you would expect 90s anime CGI to be capable of in terms of their modeling nowadays.
Well, I'm not nostalgic for that because I never lived through that as far as I remember, but it just feels to me like it's indicative of the attitude of the show just being content to being what it is. It's not super flashy, it's not like super expensive or high tier or ambitious, it's not trying to tell this great big story, it's just, hey, here's this supremely badass woman with this Matsumoto kid. It is what it is. He's the Matsumoto kid.
The only exception to that are some of the beginning and ending monologues that always be like, oh, some lofty dialogue. I am Emeraldas. This is what I believe. I am Shadow the Hedgehog. This is who I am.
We gotta do the Star Trek thing.
Star Trek doesn't have monologues.
I'm pretty sure it was like in old episodes, like before Next Generation or something like that.
Yeah, true.
Well, that's different.
Space. The final frontier.
To boldly go where no man has gone.
Oh, it's different. We don't talk about that.
Fuck you, dude. It's great. It's awesome. The Star Trek monologues are cool.
I still need to get to Star Trek.
Speaking of like jerking off Emeraldas, though, I really do like the opening. The Emeraldas, Emeraldas.
Yeah, I just wish the singer was a bit better, but yeah.
I think she's perfectly fine for what she was doing. I also like the ED, Simon Sword. Like that one had like a fun, nice melody to it and everything. The episode 4 ED was also alright, but the main one for episode 4
I really just loved the way it built, you know? It's so melodical. By the way, CBF, I think you and I can agree episode 3 was the weakest one.
I'm thinking episode 4 might be actually.
Really? Cause like episode 3 felt so weird to me, cause they build up the murderer and how he's mostly cybernetic, and they build up the duel against him, and then the conclusion comes so quickly, and then like when he's revealed, when his mask is taken off, and like we kind of strip him down to who he is, you know, when he's in a kind of a critical situation, he's just a dick. No, actually he's worse than just...
He's some cowardly dick.
He's worse than just a dick, he's just
You
some
could
dick.
say he's vile.
I get that you're literally modeled after Mega Man X, but come on, man. But yeah, I also think that the encounter itself was a case where, why don't you people just shoot each other already? Come on.
Yeah, I was remembering that scene exactly because, like, why the fuck didn't you shoot at all during this whole...
I never had that thought, but just the way he was built up. He was built up as like this great powerful folk villain, and instead he's just like some common bandit who happens to be a little more pimped out and a bit more ruthless. It's like, bruh.
I also wasn't like that great on episode 4 either. That one's the one where they really went in on all the Harlock flashbacks and everything. Siren was kind of an interesting villain, but I also think that it just sort of became like, towards the end.
I really liked her exchanges with like Hiroshi and all of the things underneath, like the man who died just as they got there, who like had a dream of building the greatest gym in the universe, and then he was just like this skinny ass motherfucker. I mean, of course I feel for that. I respect any man who wants to make the greatest gym in the world so all men everywhere can be kings.
Sigma males.
Jacked kings.
Yeah, but Siren's basically just like, oh, I basically destroyed the hearts and dreams of all men, blah 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 blah. Also, here's how I gave Emeraldas her scar. I basically just kicked her ass at some point after kidnapping Tochiro. Yeah, I think that the writing is ultimately kind of like a bit bare, even in the first 2 episodes, and a bit loose, but otherwise, yeah, it's fine.
It's overall fine. I think it's a lot more polished in the first 2. Things feel a lot more tightly woven together.
Not by much.
Yeah, it's a bit bit tougher in the next two because they're their own self-contained stories for the most part. So they have to work around that.
I do think, like, even the stuff with Queen Baraluda's plot is mainly just like, oh, I don't like you, Emeraldas. There can only be one bad bitch here. I will... Also, and send decent, competent
Best
men.
cat fight in anime.
Yeah, there is still some honor there, but it's kind of just like, that's really her only motivation.
Honestly, I'm fine with how bare bones the script is, because it's just so stylish. Queen Emeraldas is style over substance in the good way. It shows that style over substance doesn't have to be a bad thing, because it's very stylish. It gets the things that it nails the things that it has to. It really builds up Emeraldas as a badass. It makes it feels like part of a bigger universe. It pulls off Hiroshi's character arc, and it manages to pull off some slightly more loftier things just in regard to how worldly Emeraldas is as a character, and how mysterious she is, and how kind of this ethereal presence that she has that Matsumoto's art style pulls off, while concurrently doing this like coming of age, like growing up story with this young man that's very prevalent in old stories like that.
It's entertaining enough while also being relatively effective with the admittedly like kind of weak material it has for itself. It does a good job with like the main characters, and the action scenes are generally fine enough. It's like, it's somewhat entertaining.
Yeah, I generally really appreciate that sort of methodology that the show has, and it works. What disappoints me about it, though, is that this is like all we get from Emeraldas' story in terms of animation.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes me mad, but also not so mad because remakes currently is just fucking awful.
Actually, soon enough, we're getting like a trilogy of movies.
Wait, really?
One I think focused around Harlock, one around Emeraldas, and one around Maytel.
We gotta like talk about them shits when they come out then.
We're gonna be eating good at some point.
Also, Emeraldas is in more things, you know.
Yes, but not her individually.
But like, this is basically just like a 4 episodes OVA, and episode 4 just doesn't feel like it's actually much of a conclusion. It felt just like they made it episode by episode, and then after episode 4 they're just like, oh, well, you gotta stop here, I guess. Which, it could have been interesting if they actually went a little bit more into the overarching plot that they were trying to set up loosely, and also more into some stories here and there.
I'm fine with that. To me, it felt very much like a, yeah, we're done. Like, here's some stuff for the character's backstory in case you wanted to know. But yeah, we're done. That's again what I really liked.
Yeah, I'd be a bit more in line with that if it didn't feel like it was setting things up, or like there were loose ends here and there. The Queen Baraluda and stuff, and like the Metanoids.
I would have liked it if every episode was different and we have Emeraldas encounter different people.
I just generally would have liked it better if it was at least a tiny bit more. Like maybe if it were like an 8 or 10 episode OVA, but
Yeah, or if it was like a bit more polished. Maybe give it 6, like maybe have 5 and 6 finally wrap things up here and there. It'd still be fine. It's fine. It works.
Well, it doesn't really matter because, like, Emeraldas is around in more things. She's in the Space Pirate Captain Harlock origin movie Arcadia of My Youth that also has Maytel and Emeraldas herself, and she's, I believe, in a series of stories and OVAs and things that feature Emeraldas and Maytel kind of abandoning their home world that's being mechanized and fleeing from their mother, who is the queen of the mechanized planet or something, as detailed in the Galaxy Express 999 movie, and how they sort of fare after that escape.
So what you're saying is that they abandon the opportunity to reject their filthy humanity.
JoJo.
But either way, it's fine for, like, I get what you mean, but it's also a case where it is kind of important for the narrative they're trying to set up, and they just kind of leave it hanging, because it feels like they're just doing whatever. But again, it's whatever, it's fine.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I'll reserve judgment until, like, I consume more of, like, the installments that she is in regards to Matsumoto's work in animation, then.
Yeah, like, the attitude of the entire thing to me felt very, here you go.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Enjoy.
It was enjoyable enough. I give it like a strong 6. It works enough. It's
Yeah, I
fine.
gave it a 6, too.
Yeah, we're not gonna remember it much in over a week, but there's some aspects that might stick in.
I gave it a 6 as well.
If you want like an awesome badass female character, or if you're just looking for like something quick, if you want to just dabble in a little bit of the Leiji Matsumotoverse, it's not bad. There are probably worse options out there.
Yeah, like, the things you're gonna remember is how cool the style was, how nice the opening was, maybe some of the, like, like very picturesque finishes, like when Emeraldas wins the duel in the end of episode 1, and then everybody like runs to her and cheers. Stuff like how
Oh yeah, with the Precious Memories stuff, which it admittedly kind of overdid in the first half.
yeah, and like how Emeraldas is revealed, everybody's gonna remember that reveal, and just most of all, people are gonna remember, well, aside from Hiroshi being cool as shit at times, people are just gonna remember Emeraldas is going to be a badass. People are gonna point to Emeraldas and be like, yeah, this is the Emeraldas being a badass show, and Hiroshi being cool too, I guess.
Speaking of cool stuff, CBF, what did you see this week?
Oh yeah, let's not delve into that this time. We're almost out of time, and the movie theaters that are in this ship are kind of closing down. We can save that for another time, because I do have an interesting story there. Aha, I'm making it just like this anime. We have an interesting story there, but that's not for now.
We'll save that for next time.
But unlike in this anime, we're gonna see that story. But yeah, point is though, watch Emeraldas just to see one of the most badass women in anime.
Also watch Bastard because it's a fun show.
Yeah, could have referenced Harlock a bit less, but like, still, really badass
Here's the
woman.
thing, okay? Referencing Harlock in any capacity is the best way to grow a bigger penis.
Which is why we are now staring at this glorious, glorious ship that is right in front of us. The Arcadia. Bask in its glory.
Meanwhile, just we get played out with the Captain Harlock opening. With the glorious, glorious voice of Ichiro Mizuki. Anyway though, with that said, see you next time on the Captain Harlock podcast.